Today's episode has us talking the future of the Avatar and Terminator franchises, Week 4 in fantasy football, Red Dead Redemption 2, and is Tom Cruise's career a mission impossible? All this plus more great barbecuing grilling tips as we once again delve into chicken, the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the... I screwed it up because it's the PCC Multiverse. Gotta get it. All this plus more great barbecue grilling tips as we once again... as we reach our next stop, chicken. The PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And I'll tell you what, it's another awesome weekend lined up as far as in the entertainment world. And who better to help me cover it and to bookend it, very nice and sweet, as always, is my good friend. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He is the king of kings when it comes to Humanica Media. It's Josh Peterson. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. You know I got ego problems. As soon as you say those things, it's just, I'm barely fitting in my hat now, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to walk sideways as you go out through the room.
I know it gets so big, and then all I just need to do is insult myself, and it just goes back down to size, so it helps me out.
Indeed. Or your dog will just like look at you, just like, yeah, right, whatever. But anyways, it's great to have everyone part of the podcast and whatnot. We truly appreciate it. And we got a great show here today. We've got Rob McCallum, director of Nintendo Quest, and all that other great stuff he's doing, including box art and Kitty and so much more, and also Tiny Titan Studios. Let's not forget that. He's coming by to talk about James Cameron and all of the great stuff he's overseeing, and also he's directing coming up in the near future. Plus, we're also going to talk, Josh and I, about Red Dead Redemption 2. Story trailer just came out, and we've got a little bit of more pieces to the puzzle, but it's not quite enough for my taste, and I'm not sure if it's quite enough for Josh's either, but we're going to find that out at the end of the show. And then also we've got Ben Arnaud from the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast talking some barbecue. I'm getting hungry already. And then our good friend Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pay Dirt podcast is going to preview Week 4 in the NFL for fantasy owners. But Josh, it's another great weekend in the movie land area. We've got Kingsman still poised to be sitting probably at number 1. It's going to eke out a win most likely. At least that's what most projections are over it, who's doing so well and holding over so strongly in its 4th weekend already. I want to ask you, Josh, there's also another movie that's coming out with not so much hype, but with a movie star that's attached that's used to a lot of hype. What's going on with the career of Tom Cruise as this weekend American Made hits theaters?
First, let me ask you this. Did you see Kingsman over the weekend?
No, I bowed out, but my wife and I were making plans. It is on the list because we've got to clear the decks for next weekend, and I want to make an apology. I forgot that there was a week in between the releases of Kingsman and Blade Runner, so I didn't get to. I was kind of premature in my elation for it on last episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, so I apologize for that. But no, not yet. I want to see it though. I really want to see Kingsman, even though the reviews are all over the place. I just want to check it out.
I liked it. It was visually entertaining. But dude, I feel like these movies need to stop trying to make if a political commentary does not fit into a movie without slowing the plot down, like it shouldn't be in there is my biggest thing. And I know like they did it tastefully, when they poking jabs at global warming in the first one, and that was like that things flowed still, but like with this one, it really slows the pacing of the movie down, and that was kind of what like I was literally pulled out of the movie at least 4 times, and you know,
I know you're not the first to say that either. I know that's been a complaint of the film so far since it's been out, that all the goodwill it creates over the course of the movie gets taken back a little bit because of the political statements it's trying to make.
Right, and like I don't care that they're making a political statement, like that's whatever, but it's just like my big thing is if it doesn't flow well, like how I when we talked about Arrival, like if it doesn't flow well and it's almost like obnoxiously in your face, I feel like it doesn't really need to be in there.
I can't agree with you more on that. It's just, I still want to see it. And I want to ask you one thing. I know I talked previously about the potential of a Statesman spin-off series. Let me ask you this firsthand. Was there enough of the statements? Was there enough of the Statesman? I could barely talk with this root canal. Sorry about that, everyone. Is there enough room for the Statesman to grow into their own spin-off series that wouldn't be forced? It looks something like would be just like a natural expansion of the Kingsman series.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it'd be interesting. Channing Tatum's character was interesting. Jeff Bridges, like all the, and you know, at the, I don't want to spoil it for you, but like they do, you know, kind of coexist, these two factions in the end of the movie, and it's my only thing that I would really want was, so you know how the first Kingsman, they had the, like really good character development. They pulled you into Eggsy's story and it was super fascinating. In this one, there was less character development and more action scenes, and it was still fun to watch. But like, if they want to make a story out of the Statesman, I want it to have an actual story. I want it to like show a human side to these characters who are like super badass in everything they do. But I want to see them like, I don't know, give us what we got in the first Kingsman. Make us sympathize with the characters instead of just throwing them into these over the top action scenes constantly.
Well, I think that's what they would do if there was a separate Statesman movie. I mean, they might sprinkle in a little bit of Kingsman in there, but they would probably have something that would mirror most likely the first movie as opposed to the second, because obviously they're getting a lot of differential treatment on the critical status. Now, even though the Kingsman started off a little bit better than the first one did, I think the critical mass may have it ending up maybe just at or a little bit less, but we'll wait and see how it figures out in the box office. But I will tell you right now that you know, a future for a Statesman movie is going to be dependent on the success of this film, and I'll tell you what, it probably would mirror the first one most likely.
Yeah, okay, so that would be my, hold on one second. So that would be like, that would really pull me into it. Like if they had a story, I would love to see Channing Tatum's backstory, or even Halle Berry sounds like she had an interesting backstory.
Pedro Pascal, I heard, was really good in the film too.
He was, and you know, I'm not saying anything else because it's going to ruin the movie for you, but yeah, no, like I would definitely be open to that concept and seeing it happen. It's funny because make sure that you are on time for this movie. Don't like, if you're gonna think to yourself, they have 15 minutes of trailers, they don't. And if you walk in, you know, a minute after the movie starts, you're gonna miss a whole lot. So make sure that you are there like 10 minutes before the movie starts and you're in your chair the entire time. Because I had some buddies who like waited in line to get popcorn and food, and they came in, missed 5 minutes of the movie, pretty much missed the entire plot of the film.
Oh man, that stinks. That's not good. So everybody out there who, like me, who's going to go see the film, you got to make sure you're there as the movie opens up. Indeed. So I'll tell you what, it's a lot of great things to look forward to there. But moving back into American Made, you know, this goes back to The Mummy and our expectations for The Mummy, which really were downplayed once I saw the movie beforehand it was released, and I got to see it, and unfortunately, as I said in my review of it, I just thought it was just really a downer. And part of the reason was Tom Cruise's performance. Here we go with American Made, and the reviews are mixed for the most part, and it's not expected to even get out of the mid-teens as far as domestically this weekend. So that can't be a great sign for Tom Cruise's career, as if he still wants to hold that AAA status outside of the Mission Impossible films. Correct?
Yeah, I think that people are getting burnt out on Tom Cruise. So he has a lot of he has a lot of goodwill with the people, and I think with he's doing all these big franchises, and it's just not really appealing to anybody. I don't know what you call. I don't want to say he's selling out, but like he's kind of selling out for these big franchise films. You have The Mummy, you have Mission Impossible, you have what else was he in? Like even like Jack Reacher, which is the second Jack Reacher movie was okay, but yeah, I don't know what it is. He's had a lot of flops, and I know that does affect actors pretty badly. If you just look at Taylor Kitsch after John Carter of Mars
and Battleship.
And Battleship, and now he's finally back in a movie, but his name is not even in the
American Assassin. Material. He did the promo work for it, but yeah, they cut him out any chance to get. And then the American Fireman story, I forget what that's called. That's coming up very soon. He's in that as well, but he's like his name is farther down the list, so he's still trying to earn his stripes once again. I agree with you more, but go ahead.
Yeah, but anyways, so with this new movie, it looks entertaining. It looks okay. Like I think, who is the guy with the redhead? He's not Owen Wilson, is he?
No, it's Domhnall Gleeson of
from Star Wars. Yeah, okay. So that's what I was wondering about. But yeah, the movie looks okay. It looks like it might be funny, but I don't think it's going to be something that people are going to be rushing to the movies to watch, especially after the bad publicity it got with Tom Cruise, in that airplane situation a while back.
Exactly, and there was deaths involved and whatnot. In fact, there's actually a lawsuit most likely pending because of it. So that's never a great sign for a movie, indeed. And I'll tell you what, it's just not a great sign at all for the movie as far as hopes for any situation. But do you see Tom Cruise? Do you think it's also like in the case of Dwayne Johnson, where his selections as well is now hurting his film career as well? It's now hurting his film career as far as the choices that he's making, maybe hurting his projected future earnings with films that he's starring in.
Okay, so with The Rock, I noticed, because I watched Baywatch, this movie, terrible movie, it's an absolute train wreck. I think that there's a confusion as to what genre some of these actors belong in. Like The Rock is funny, he does some funny stuff, but he doesn't belong in movies that you can't take seriously, because I think, and that's the problem there. So I don't know if like Tom Cruise, he's naturally just been an action guy. Like he's usually in those type of movies, but if he's reaching the point where the market is oversaturated with Tom Cruise. And ever since they announced he was starring in the Dark Universe role and he's going to be a more prominent thing, it's a very real chance that people are getting burnt out on him. And he's, at this point, it seems like he might be taking on a little bit of the Johnny Depp syndrome, taking parts just for a paycheck.
I agree with you I agree with you on that, and I'll tell you what, it's truly kind of sad to see, but you see that every now and then with actors that were once famous. Schwarzenegger, Stallone, it's very hard and difficult for them to carry their own movies anymore. That at a premium, they'll still do video on demand or lower echelon films that they'll star in, that they may be able to carry and bring some revenue in. But unless they're working together in like an Expendables format or something else, they're now relegated to being part of somebody else's films. But we'll talk about that later. And even I'll talk about as far as Schwarzenegger with Rob, that with even the Terminator franchise, that there's still some doubt that he can actually carry the movie by himself there as well. And with Stallone, he was a better fit when he appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 earlier this summer. So we'll have to wait and see. All these icons of film lore, over the past 2-3 decades, their time's got to run out at some point in time. Are they being replaced by other actors? We'll have to wait and see. But at least right now, it's good while we have them still out there. Harrison Ford is still, kicking some major butts. So there's still one actor still getting prime roles and doing the most out of them. So that's kind of, it looks good right now for at least Harrison Ford. But for many others that were once A-listers, it's time maybe they take a look at, reevaluate the things that they're doing as far as the choices that they're making and the movie roles that they're taking on. What are your thoughts on these A-listers from the past, like Stallone, like Schwarzenegger, like Tom Cruise? Do you think that they should go and pick out better roles and as far as not go and always try to be the Will Smith as well, not always try to be the star in these films? Are they better suited to playing co-starring and supporting roles at this point in their careers? In fact, Tom Cruise's best performance in a while was Tropic Thunder. You got to check that one out. That's just me. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, and Humanican Media on Facebook and Twitter as well. And as we just got another packed episode indeed, but at first, we've always got for the PCC Multiverse, our good friend, it's Plasma Z. This is Duskwalker, and this is the PCC Multiverse. I am bearing through it, man, but I cannot talk worth a hooey with this. So I apologize. Anybody watching the video in the future going forward, I got a root canal today, so bear with me here. I cannot talk, but I'll try.
Well, at least you're not drooling on yourself, so there's that.
No, the numbness went away around 3:30. Yeah, so that was my whole front of my face. But yeah, it was down in here. Yeah, on the backside. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then I try to chew, and then I end up hurting myself even more, man. Note to everyone out there: dental hygiene at an early age is important. But we'll go there. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today as we close out the show. But since we're on the podcast radio network, I got to tell you, the #1 show on the network is the Pop Culture Cosmos show. You check it out every Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And also as well, my good friend, the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Peterson, he has a show called Attack of the Humanicans that's on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network as well. And if you miss any one of the Pop Culture Cosmos shows, check out the Pop Culture Cosmos channel anytime at your convenience. If you're not hearing it already on the download, you can check it out on any one of these great networks, including Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, the Ace Podcast Network, Overcast.fm, Player.fm, Google Play, Stitcher, Podcast.com, Mixcloud, the ESO Network, the Tangent Bound Network, the Gunna Geek Network, Cast Crunch, Social Podcasts, and of course our home site where we've got a lot of great articles as well, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. And speaking of Humanican Media, there's a lot of great stuff going on there. So Josh, what's coming up in the next week at the great site known as Humanican Media?
New Inside Sports. That's really all we got going this week. Right now, you can check out What About This? The latest episode was put up on Monday. Attack the Humanican, which was or will probably be What About This again. We also have a an interview that this Brian from the Super BS cast got to do with the guys from Asymmetric involving their game. I cannot remember what the game is called, but it's really good. So you should check that out. It's up on our Facebook page and our iTunes. And, as always, thanks for listening.
Awesome. Yeah, I have never played I Cannot Remember. So that's always that. Actually, we should make a game that you can't remember, like Flash things. Do you remember these things?
It's called West of Loathing. That's what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll tell you what, it's a lot of great stuff coming down the pike. That's great indeed. And you check out all the Humanica Media places, all the Humanica Media stations on, of course, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Podbean, podcast.com, and Apple Podcasts. So before we head on out, we've got a lot of great things to talk. So before we head on out, we just wanted to thank Rob McCallum, also as well Ben Arnault from the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast, our good friend Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. Just want to thank all of them for being a part of the podcast here today. But Josh, I know you got a chance to check out the latest trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, and you and I have a couple of bones to pick with Rockstar when it comes to the actual game itself. And the trailer that's shown, it looks beautiful. Let's get this out of the way. It looks absolutely gorgeous and stunning. It's really a step up from even GTA 5. I cannot wait to go and explore that open world. It's going to be an awesome time indeed. But there are some bones that we want to pick on there. But I'll let you go first. Josh, what kind of issues do you have with Red Dead Redemption 2 after the trailer that just came out?
Okay, yeah, you're right. The game looks stunning. At least the trailer did. My issue is I hate how video game developers, when they can't think of a way to move their story forward, they want to go backwards, and it just makes the entire last game that you played feel like a waste of time. Yeah, it's cool to have extra materials to show you how the characters got to where they're going, but maybe do it through a comic book or a novel. But I'm not. When I heard that it was a prequel, I just did not get excited about it, especially since they called it Red Dead Redemption 2 and not Red Dead Redemption, the before story or whatever. I can't get excited about something like that because it's like backwards character development. I don't know what to expect from this game. I hope it has the massive, the multiplayer aspects that the first one had, but I don't know how I feel about going backwards in the main character's story as opposed to going forward, because I was hoping for some more of that, or maybe something further down the line in the timeline. But that's my problem, is that it's a prequel. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I was hoping that they would expand the story of John Marston's son, because spoilers, John Marston doesn't exactly finish all the way, but through the original Red Dead Redemption, but his son finishes off what his father was trying to complete. So I would have loved to have seen his story, and maybe his story will be told at some point in time down the road. But with Red Dead Redemption 2, it actually goes into the past about 20, 34, let's say 20, 30 years in the past, dealing with an actual new character, Arthur Morgan, and he's part of the same gang that John Marston was actually a part of at one time as well, and that's the Vanderlyn gang. And and we all know, if you've played, again, spoilers, played Red Dead Redemption, you know that the leader of the Vanderlyn gang, he actually comes to his own demise as well in the original games. But I guess from what I'm seeing, that you interact with him at some point in time during Red Dead Redemption 2 as a much younger individual. So that's how one of the ways you're able to ascertain it. It's a prequel. So I guess that's the way that Rockstar wants to go. And usually it's hard to argue against Rockstar, because their vision, what ultimately gets out there, is usually so well done. The only thing I have more to it is, okay, give us a release date. Come on. Don't tell me spring 2018 anymore. I'm tired of it. I want to know exact release date. It's about that time you should be able to just spill the beans and go at it. Otherwise, I have a strong feeling that it may be delayed if that's the case. You know, if you're going to be like, maybe say it's going to be another May release and whatnot for you, all right, I'll give it to you. That's technically that's still spring, but I would like to see an actual release date to get things even more rolling into shape. You know, I would love to see that finally come to fruition, because it can't be far off from being almost all completed. But I definitely want to see the game as well. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I actually don't mind the prequel side of it as much as you do, because I don't hold on to that grips of the story of the original Red Dead Redemption. I thought it was great. I played through it and I had a good time, but it really didn't stay with me as much as I guess it sounds like it stayed with you. But I would have liked to have seen John Marston's son, his story arc, continue in Red Dead Redemption 2, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to get it. So any last thoughts on RDR2 and maybe what you're hoping for, since you know it's going to be a prequel? I'm sorry, but at least could there be some elements that would maybe kind of make it look better in your eyes?
A co-op aspect would be fun. Because I really enjoyed the last one, how you could play with your buddies and you could all go around and participate in the ambushes and team up and stuff. But yeah,
there are bank robberies and train robberies, so I'm assuming, based off of the experience we saw with GTA on in multiplayer, that you're going to be able to pull a lot of heists off.
Yeah, I'd like to see some story co-op though. I think that would be fun. Like, even if it's just like the Borderlands type co-op where you could be playing your game and someone else can jump into it and play along in the story with you, or vice versa. I think that would be cool.
I agree with you, because to go out in a full campaign with someone else, that would be a really neat thing to add on to, and I would look forward to having that, because that would be something different within the Rockstar realm, and I kind of would think that would be a nice little addition to whatever it is they're doing with such an expansive world. What are your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2 now that a little peek of the story is now available for everyone to see and view? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, Josh, it's been another great show we have here today. We've had here today. What are your thoughts on the way out? Anything you're looking forward to doing this weekend?
No. I Blade Runner next weekend for sure, but yeah, this weekend I'm really hoping to sit down and finish Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. That is the longest game I have ever played, and I want to stop playing it, but my OCD will not let me stop until I get to the end of it. So I'm really hoping that I can finish that this weekend.
Well, the challenge has been laid down indeed, and for me, I am so excited. That was me clapping in the background, by the way. I just cannot wait for, as well, you could tell from the last episode of our, Pop Culture Cosmos, you could tell that I'm so excited for Blade Runner 2049. The advanced reviews that they're hinting out there are pretty good. So I'm definitely excited to see what the end realm is going to take place. And I just can't wait for Blade Runner 2049. Oh, it's another week. We have to wait, but it'll be just around the corner, and we'll definitely share our thoughts on Blade Runner 2049 as it nears. Next week we'll devote a good portion of it, and in following that as well, to recap exactly how well it's doing at the box office and how well it's doing with you fans out there. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford, and we thank you for being. It's another beautiful day. It's another beautiful day in paradise here in the PCC Multiverse. Don't get a root canal. They suck. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.